Hello everybody and welcome back to Teachers Talk Money, where I help teachers master their money in order to give back to themselves. Today I'm going to reflect with you about how my No Spend November month went to see if I met my goals, if I was under budget, if I was able to transfer more to savings, and all of that good stuff. So let's check it out. So the good news is that I technically met all of my goals for this No Spend November. I got 19, not 18 no spend days, so days where I did not spend a single unbudgeted dollar. And while I set the goal to limit my takeout to 3 times a week, I had a couple of weeks where I only got it twice per week, and therefore I spent on takeout 11 days this month rather than 13 times, which would have been the other total. So I actually went way under budget for going out. Now, I did not have a perfect month by any stretch of the imagination. So let's get into all of my different categories where I underspent and where I overspent. So the first thing is that I actually wildly overspent on groceries this month. While I budgeted $200 for groceries, I spent a total of $240 on groceries. We can attribute this to a couple of things. Number one, that I was being pretty serious about limiting my takeout, so therefore I had to get that food from somewhere. And number two, for the holidays, Brian and I baked some pies, we made a green bean casserole, so a lot of extra things. We got some extra alcoholic drinks and stuff like that. So with all of the holidays and events, we ended up spending more money on groceries than we normally would have, just because we were cooking and baking more at home than we typically would. So I was $40 over budget for my groceries. I also went over budget in my other category. Now, I don't believe I broke my No Spend November because I did get a butcher box. Technically I got it in October, but it billed in November, so I put the money there from November. But I didn't really consider it a spend day since it was in the interest of keeping my takeout down as much as possible. So that, in addition to my utilities, were already expected things. Now, I didn't really expect to spend on any big ticket items in this category because the whole point of my No Spend November, other than just having no spend days and limiting my takeout, was of course to not get anything in my other category that was discretionary. So I'm not buying workout clothes, talk myself out of buying plants, talk myself out of buying stuff for the apartment, all of that good stuff. So how the heck did I go over my other category? Well, the answer is I got a camera ticket for speeding and it was $50. So it was really just an unfortunate coincidence that during my No Spend November, I got this ticket. That being said, I'm actually I don't feel good that I got the ticket, but I do feel good because I feel like it's showing me how much progress I've made with my mindset around money and my mental energy around money. Because normally when this would happen, if I set a goal and I went over budget because of something that was totally out of my control, I would have been extremely upset, like very upset that I worked so hard to meet all these goals and I still ended up going over budget in a category for something that, while I was speeding, it really wasn't something I could have planned for or controlled in any way. And this month I really don't attach that much emotion to it or that much feeling. And I feel like that is kind of the biggest representation of how far I've come with my kind of emotional well-being around money. Especially when I was getting out of debt, anytime something like this came up, I just felt completely disengaged, disappointed, and like all my hard work was for nothing. And I literally would have felt like that over a $50 ticket. So while it's not good that this happened, I'm not super bummed out. In my mind, I still met my goals, and I'm actually pretty grateful I was able to just put this in my other category, because what I would have done in a typical month, when I was already using my other category for something else, is I would have taken that $50 out of my car fund, which is good, it's what my car fund's there for, but I'm really trying to build it back up, so it would have been maybe another month of me adding money to my car fund. And so being able to cash flow this and put this in my other category saves me probably another month of saving up to rebuild that car fund. So honestly, a worthwhile trade-off for me So in a way, my no spend month rules for my other category actually ended up benefiting me in the long run. I did get my $30 worth of gas this month, and so that was on budget. So I was over for my groceries, over for my other fund, and right on budget for my gas fund. But because I went so steeply under budget in my going out fund, I'll put the amounts up here, I only spent $122 of the $200 I had allocated. I ended up going under budget by $30. So not a huge amount of savings, but I just put that $30 right into my car fund, just because I'm trying to get that rebuilt and out of the way so I can focus the money I'm putting into that monthly on other things. And so yeah, I was able to save a tiny bit extra of money this month. So let's talk about all of the things that I'm very proud of in my no spend month this month. The first thing I'm really proud of is avoiding Black Friday shopping altogether. So I feel like we all kind of know that Black Friday is pretty evil and Cyber Monday can be pretty evil. Obviously it depends on what companies you're supporting during this time, but it tends to be with the bigger companies a really exploitative thing. So I'm really glad that I didn't do any in-person or online shopping just to chase the sales during Black Friday, Cyber Monday, whatever the heck else was going on in that week, that time after Thanksgiving. I'm really proud of my dining spending in general. Like I said, I went way under budget and also just like showed myself that I had a lot of restraint with that, so that was really important for me. But one particular moment I'm very proud of with this is that Brian and I did drive up to New Jersey to visit his parents for Thanksgiving this year, and typically when I do a long car ride like that, it's usually about 4 to 5 hours to get up and back from New Jersey. Whenever I'm doing a long car ride like that, I feel like I have to get fast food. It's kind of weird. I think it's like I'm outside of my comfort zone because I'm in the car for a long time and I'm looking for something to kind of distract or pacify me. But I always feel like I need to get, you know, some takeout coffee, maybe like a breakfast sandwich from McDonald's or something like that. But I always feel like I need to pay for fast food if I'm in the car for a long period of time. And I didn't do that. I didn't do that on the way up to New Jersey. We didn't stop on the way back from New Jersey. And that was really great, obviously eliminating our stops for travel just to kind of, because, you know, we're in a pandemic. But also just because for me it showed me like I don't need that every time I'm in the car, and I can kind of question the things that I feel like I really, really want or even feel like I need on some level. I am also very proud of every single thing I talked myself out of buying this month, which was, as I mentioned in my last video, plants, sustainable clothing. I talked myself out of buying candles. I talked myself out of buying actually quite a few little things here and there. And so I'm pretty proud of that, not because buying things is bad, because it's not, but because I think I sometimes need to remind myself that I don't need to spend money to feel fulfilled or worthwhile or happy or to get that dopamine rush that comes with spending money or, you know, like adding to cart and stuff like that. So I always love being able to question my consumer habits, even though, like I said, nothing wrong with buying plants, nothing wrong with buying clothes, candles, any of that good stuff. In fact, I do most months, but it can wait. And a lot of times when we wait, we might decide that those purchases aren't ultimately worth it. So we're saving our money and we're also saving our energy, because obviously owning an item, you have to take care of it. Another thing I'm very proud of this month, I did make a bunch of gift purchases. That was an exception I had, and I made it with money out of my gift fund, so nothing came out of my monthly budget. But I'm very proud that I avoided Amazon for most of these purchases. I did buy 2 things that I just found like wildly better deals on, and I told myself going into this year that I was going to still allow myself to use Amazon until my Prime membership expires, but I was going to do as much shopping small as possible. And I was able to for most of my gifts. I am getting gifts for like 10 people this year, so the fact that only 2 of those are coming from Amazon feels pretty good. And obviously next year and throughout the year I'm going to eventually give it up basically entirely. So I'm looking forward to that, but as I'm kind of weaning myself off of the convenience here, I'm feeling pretty good that I was still able to avoid most of it. It's making me pretty hopeful for the possibility of being able to give it up entirely. Now, there was one thing I very much wanted to improve on during this no spend month that I kind of noticed as I was tracking these things, knowing that I was going to put these numbers out there. And that for me was getting more food from restaurants locally versus getting from big chains. As you can see, if you look at my dining category, I did get a couple of local things, but about, I think, 65% of these purchases were from chains like Popeyes, Chipotle, really big companies. And there's nothing wrong with that. Obviously, I'm going to eat Popeyes and Chipotle because those are like my two favorite places to get food from. That being said, I do think that there's really no reason in a city like DC that has so much delicious local food that I should be getting so much of the proportion of the food that I get from national companies. So I'm going to attempt to kind of keep my food spending more local as well. And the goal moving forward for the month of December is 50% and 50%. So 50 for local restaurants and 50% for my favorite national chains. And this is what I love about no spend challenges, is that they really get you to see all of the things you're tempted to purchase and all of the things you're tempted to pay for, and to really decide if that actually aligns with your values. There's a famous quote, I don't remember who said it right now, but they say, you know, show me your bank statement and I'll show you your values. And I think that's so true, because where we put our money is actually what's going to drive a lot of the morals and ethics of the companies in our economy, because we live obviously in a capitalist society here in the USA. And so it's incredibly important that we are all thoughtful consumers. Obviously, the onus is on the companies to make better moral and ethical decisions, but at the same time, they're only incentivized to do that through consumer behavior. And so that's what voting with your dollar means, and that's why it's important. On a large scale, your spending aligns with your values, but of course on a small scale, it just matters to you that where you're putting your money is what you actually value. I also love no spends because they get us out of the cycle of impulse buying and out of using retail as therapy, which I think most of us are guilty of. And of course, helps us question the idea that we need to spend money, or that spending money on something is going to make us a better person or a happier person. Because as we know, intellectually, that's completely wrong, but sometimes that's not exactly the way it feels. Sometimes we feel like we really need to get that thing because that's gonna make us more productive or seem like a more put together person or whatever it is. Thank you so much for joining me here on the channel. I hope you enjoyed following along on my no spend journey, seeing all the benefits that I got from it. And if you're ready to try it, get to it. Remember to never go into a no spend month or any no spend challenge blind. You need to first be keeping a budget. And if you're not keeping a budget yet, go to the link in the description of this video and get my free budget template. It's what I actually use and what hundreds of people have gone and used as their budget as well. So please go check it out. Thanks so much for coming. Don't forget to subscribe to my channel, like this video, comment on this video. Can't tell you how much it helps me and how much it really means to me. And finally, have an amazing week. I will see you guys next week. Bye.